Hi everyone. Today on Casper Podcast, we have amazing Prue Rocchi, co-founder of Rocc Naturals, the all-natural, all-organic, sustainably friendly toothpaste. We're going to be chatting to her about her journey in developing a toothpaste product and being a mum and juggling business, lifestyle, yoga, and everything in between. Welcome, Prue. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited about this podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Tell us a little bit about your professional background.
So prior to starting Rocc, I spent kind of 10 years in PR marketing. My first job was, strangely enough, a fashion publicist in New York. And I was working on predominantly lifestyle brands. So Saturday's Surf for surfing, obviously, East Aura for snow, DC for skate, Converse, kind of basketball as well. So I had a bunch of these different kind of lifestyle brands, which I really loved working on as opposed to some of the higher fashion clients that were in the agency. So when I moved home to Melbourne, I really seeked out a position that leveraged my passion for health and wellness and that sports arena. So I moved more into marketing positions and basically continued to work in either agency or client side in sports and health. So I was at companies called like the Gemba Group and then Triple M, people might know, who are obviously big in the sports sponsorship space. And most recently, before Rocc, I was working in a gym chain.
Oh, okay.
So then I went on maternity leave, and that's kind of where the move into Rocc happened somewhat accidentally.
Fantastic. So you've got like a good grasp of marketing and lifestyle, which kind of makes sense when you look at your product because aesthetically it's such a gorgeous product, and it looks great in the bathroom as well as it tastes great too. Because that's one of the things with a lot of the toothpaste or the oral health care products on the market. They're full of natural ingredients, but some of them, I must admit, don't taste that great. But your one actually tastes super cool, and it's full of vitamins and minerals. So it's actually really good for your mouth as well, which is fantastic. So how did you come up? First of all, I guess I'm going to frame this question in two parts. Why toothpaste and oral health care, and how did you come up with the idea of, okay, it's got to look good as well as taste good? Because it's so hard to marry those two together in terms of, products that you use every day or everyday essentials. A lot of the stuff is quite generic and it's like, yeah, whatever. But this is actually quite unique in itself in terms of its design and its quality, and then, of course, the freshness and everything else that it delivers.
Moving into oral hygiene was very much opportunistic. It was not planned on my career in terms of a 3-year goal. It really just started when I was pregnant. In that 12 months before being pregnant, I'd done like triathlons, yoga teach training. I was buying all my organic fruit from the markets. Like I was very into like health and wellness and living in that way. And when I got pregnant, you just become more conscious of what you put in your body.
Absolutely.
And I switched from a chemically toothpaste, such as a Colgate, to a natural. It was also the time when like climate change rallies seemed to be happening every weekend around the world. So I was also looking for like a sustainable option in the category. And there was just nothing in the supermarket aisle, nothing in the pharmacies. Everything on those shelves, and continues to be today, goes to landfill for 500 years.
Yeah.
And I kind of walked away. I was like, why is that?
It's quite staggering when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone in the world is using toothpaste twice a day. And the way a traditional toothpaste tube is made is like foil plastic to get the crinkle.
Yeah.
So there's nothing sustainable about it. It's just landfill. So I walked out of the supermarket, not being able to find anything I want. Also from a design perspective, because I'm pretty proud at home, and there was nothing that was going to sit nice on my shelf. And I kind of just wondered that, all the supermarket aisles at the time were filled with these like beautiful modern consumer brands like Thank You Soap and, Who Gives a Crap toilet paper. I was like, well, why isn't toothpaste keeping up with the current consumer in terms of, extra nourishment and design aesthetic and sustainability? And that's where the kind of idea just started. I just didn't think there was anything in the market that was remotely targeted at a consumer like me. So I basically spent my maternity leave just tinkering away. If I was designing toothpaste, like how would it look? What would be different? And that was kind of the easy part in terms of designing the points of difference. One, it had to be sustainable. I grew up on a farm, so sustainability was always kind of ingrained with me growing up. So that was really important to me. Two, it had to be more nourishing. You know, the flavors that were currently on market were Arctic Blast and all these extreme flavors. You know, there should be more nourishing flavors that are linked to oral health. I thought so. That was
not cinnamon. When I was pregnant with my first son, there was a cinnamon toothpaste that I bought. This is going back 21 years ago. I'm like a dinosaur now, and it was the only natural product at the time. I was like, and I was like you. As soon as it's amazing, as soon as you're responsible for creating another human being, you then start to think about all the things that you actually put in your body and become more mindful of the ingredients. So back then it was
that's right.
Cinnamon, and I remember going, this tastes like I'm brushing my teeth with Coke, like, you know, like Coca-Cola. Yeah. And I thought, I couldn't wait to have the baby so I could go back to the Colgate.
Yeah, the flavouring is really important. And our flavours, like we have, you know, green tea in there, but our toothpaste definitely doesn't taste like green tea. It's definitely, you know, minty fresh.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where the journey just started from, is just really a gap in the market. And the two biggest things I thought that need to be filled was, one, why isn't this sustainable? And two, why isn't there a non-toxic version that doesn't look like it's from the 70s or feel like it's from the 70s? Where's the modern consumer brand here?
Clever. And you've definitely it's definitely nailed it in terms of its design. Tell me now, how did you go about, because I love products and I'm big on products that are sustainable and ethical and that are transparent in the whole manufacturing process. So how did you go about sourcing different materials that are sustainable, that decompose?
Yeah, sure. So for us, it was about finding the right manufacturer that had the same values or the same packaging company. We went to lots and lots of different packaging companies and we tested them, we tried them. And at the end of the day, what was important to us is in terms of the sustainability impact for end of life. So, you know, once it's used, how is it disposed of to the consumer? You know, there's pros and cons to everything in sustainability. But yeah, we just kind of had to keep researching and until we find the right option that really suited us.
And so what's the actual tube being made from?
So it is made from a plastic, a plastic material, yeah.
When you were formulating the different flavors, because you've got like 3 different flavors, the vitamin B12, that's the one that I was looking at the other day and going, oh my gosh, that sounds like it's almost like a spa for your mouth because it has everything in it, and it sounds and a lot of people use coconut as a way of coconut oil as a way of actually, what's that, where you put it in your mouth and then you kind of swish it around to draw out the toxin. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So was that developed with that in mind, or was it just, you know, let's try these ingredients and see what they taste like?
So the B12 one was all lotions are generally based off academic reports, and the B12 one was really interesting because I found this report in my depths of research that showed that a B12 toothpaste is an effective way of supplementing B12s in the body.
Really?
So vegans are the group that are generally deficient in B12, and that's generally the vitamin they're most deficient in. It's really hard to supplement orally, so in a cap form it's really hard. Most of them spray under the tongue or get injections. So because B12 is best absorbed in the mouth, it's actually a very effective way of supplementing your vitamin B12 levels through the body. So that's why we put the vitamin B12 in there. It's very much kind of like our toothpaste for a vegan group, but to be honest, it tastes great. So I use it all the time as well. So there's like an additional benefit of having a B12 vitamin in your toothpaste.
That's actually very, very, very clever and very well thought about. So tell me about your business journey now. So you're a mum. You've got a couple of kids. How many kids do you have?
Yeah, I've got 2. And when I say that with a scary face, I say that because one is 4 months old.
Oh, my gosh.
And the other, yeah, I know. And Coco is almost 3. So, yeah, I've got a really young family, a really, really young business.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are superwoman. Yeah. Absolute superwoman.
Crazy, I think. People say that I think I'm just crazy.
No. Can I tell you, don't underestimate yourself. It is hard work. First of all, it's hard work having your own business, but, you know, and it's hard work being a mother on its own, raising 2 little kids, but combining the 2 together, that's pretty epic. So congratulations to you. So how do you balance it all? How do you juggle it all? Do you have a good support network?
Yeah, it's been, look, it's taken a long time to get there. It's been really hard, like, I guess every other mum trying to find the right balance between kids and family and work. But I do have a really good support network in terms of family around me, and we have like care for the children as well. Obviously, I'm not doing long hours at the moment because Molly's so little. But yeah, we just when we committed to Rocc, and when we committed more so going into Coles this year, we just said if that's the direction we have to go, and we're also going to have a baby in the same year, then we're going to have to make sure we've got the support in place to be able to, support the family and make sure that, no one feels overwhelmed too much.
Yeah. Especially you as a mum. Because, it can get very overwhelming sometimes, and your business is doing so well and it's moving rapidly by the sounds of things. If you're looking at going into Coles this year as well, that's massive.
Yeah. Well, we launched. So we, probably 7 months or probably 6 months after we launched, Coles said, yep, we're going to stock you in all stores in Australia.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. 10 days before I had Molly is when we launched into Coles. So it was a real busy time, but, it was both, incredibly exciting, and, everything always seems to happen at the same time. I've got a really young business. It's really full on. We're navigating family life, but, it's really exciting. Like, obviously being a mum is super tiring, and, sometimes when I get to work, it's like I use a whole different side of my brain. So I feel like when I come home, I'm like kind of completely re-energized for family life in a different way. So I think they balance each other in some respects as well. It's not all, overwhelming at the same time. I think it's a nice balance sometime as well.
It's so contradicting too, because, being a mum can be so chaotic and you never know what's going to happen next. But being at work is so, I guess, streamlined and organised. You kind of know what's going to happen next. So I can understand how when you get home, it's a completely different vibe and you're ready for it because you've had your day. But so what do you do to chill for you as a woman and as a mum?
I do a bit of yoga. To be honest, I haven't got into the strongest routine since having Molly. She's probably not sleeping as much as I would like.
No, that's okay.
I just try and do some yoga.
What's your favourite
yoga on the weekends?
What's your favourite yoga style?
I like vinyasa.
Vinyasa, it's a good
Although
one.
if I'm like, pretty, if it's been a busy week, probably some there's this yoga studio I go to, and they do candle yin on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, which is really nice to go to and just chill out and not have a really hard class, just kind of have more of a chill out vibe. So that's good as well.
It's good, and yoga's great at doing that. Yoga's kind of great at just kind of bringing you back to you, which I think as a young mum, busy mum, that's super, super important. But your exercise background, I read in your bio that you used to run marathons and do all sorts of things.
Marathons.
Look, I'm here. I've done a half marathon. I've done a few half marathons. I haven't done one for a long time. I'm trying to psych myself up I'm like, can I do this again? I don't know. It's been a while. I'm still trying to convince myself. So have you always been into health and fitness? I know you said you've been doing lifestyle brands and you've always been active, but has it been something that you've kind of had ingrained in you since you were a little kid?
In high school I used to do a lot of activity, and then probably in my 20s, it wasn't really on top of my priority list. And then after I came back from New York, New York was a great, incredible experience, but it probably wasn't the healthiest in terms of the amount that I was working and, not much exercising and not much balance. So when I go back to Australia from then, I really got into my exercise and kind of fell into my friendship group at the time where doing a similar thing. So we started doing running together, and instead of, going out on Friday nights, we'd stay in and go for a big run on Saturday morning. And all the kind of exercise endeavors that I do, so whether it be triathlon or half marathon, it's always been with a group of friends. It's never me going by myself. So it's always kind of this like collective social club, which is always really fun. And when I do these things, I'm the slowest in all of them, but it's just a fun way to catch up with friends during the week.
100%.
Something healthy to talk about, and then also plan a holiday together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. We were just talking with a friend of mine. She wants to start going on some hikes. She's like, oh, and I said, well, we need to get training if you want to do these epic hikes, because I said,
Yeah.
and so all of a sudden this conversation that started is now going to turn into something where, a more of a social thing, which I think is great for women. It's good. It's a good way to connect. It's a good way to support each other. And it's just a good way to just get out, as you said, just do a little bit of exercise and catch up with everyone in an outside environment or inside. So tell us.
It's been a really strong pillar in our friendship group, is that kind of like the exercising on the weekends and doing things together. It's been really good.
It's good, especially during COVID too, because you couldn't really do much. And I'd be talking on my phone or FaceTiming while I'd be walking. So to have that connection and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Tell me, with your business now, in terms of how developing a product from concept stage to actual production to it's sitting on cold shelves, what are some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah, I mean, so many. How much time do you have?
Give us an example of one that really shifted your perspective on what you were doing. Because you always have that moment as a businesswoman to another businesswoman where you go, oh my God, why am I doing this? Did you, this is just all too hard. What did you ever have that moment? And if you did, what brought that moment on?
There was a couple of moments. So, I mean, because it was like during COVID that I researched and started this business, I didn't really meet any of my suppliers at all. I met my manufacturer just before COVID started. But packaging with the boxes to go into supermarket, like that whole packaging piece of how it works, and it's all completely new to me at this stage. Trying to get that packaging piece correct and the right thickness of every sort of piece, and it was like a huge puzzle that I just like could not solve, and I was getting bounced around suppliers, and because I didn't, wasn't a running business, not many people were taking me too seriously. It wasn't until there was a break in lockdown that I went out to my packaging supplier, had a 10-minute chat with him, and he just sorted it all out for me. And I was just like, if only I could have if it was just everyday life, I could have done this 6 months ago. But because it was COVID and you couldn't get onto people. So box packaging sounds easy, but it was a bloody nightmare. And I guess one of the other really hard things was, so we've spoken about the vitamin B12 formulation.
Yeah.
So it's first market product in Australia. There's no one else. So convincing my manufacturer to do something like that was based off academic research. It's not like a trending thing that I came up with. Definitely a challenge, and I had to kind of really sell the importance of that to them.
Yeah.
Methocobalamin, which we use, is bright red in its format. So when you put it into a white toothpaste, the toothpaste turns like this pretty pink color. And they called me and they're like, oh no, it's pink, that's how naturally it will be. But I think a lot of people think that we make it pink to be cute or something, but it's just because vitamin B12
I think, you know what, I actually think it's really good. I bet little girls would love it because, oh, Mummy, look, my toothpaste is pink. I love it that it's pink.
Yeah.
I think it's like when you have those, what do you call it, a good mistake. It's not really a mistake because it actually worked out better.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So I mean, there was lots of situations that was really hard, but I guess getting the manufacturers on board for these kind of new formulations was definitely an uphill battle for a while.
It's hard because a lot of manufacturers are prone to just kind of stick to their own formulations and trying to kind of work you into agreeing with them. And yet when you have an idea and you have something that you want to try, it's really hard to find someone that's going to jump on board with you and be a little bit experimental and be able to go, okay, you know what, let's give it a go or what have you. But it sounds like you're onto it, and, you're very lucky that you were able to kind of get through that process. And, of course, creating something during COVID for a lot of young businesses, and especially a lot of people that I've spoken to in the last couple of years, it's been a super, super hard challenge. Super hard challenge in so many ways. As you said, things just took forever. People took forever to be able to get back to you. Some businesses were closed completely. It was that whole communication was all kind of a bit of a mess. But and you were saying, it was interesting, you were saying that the packaging and the boxes had to be a particular size, and that gave you a bit of grief in terms of from the design perspective, or just the thickness of it?
So before we launched the brand, Woolworths committed to putting us in store. So just navigating what a supermarket requires from their packaging requirements, which is very stringent. It was just a whole minefield for me to navigate by myself, and not having someone that I could trust to help me through that process. It just took a while to figure out what exactly I needed. And I was getting conflicting reports.
Did you have any business mentors that you could kind of, catch up and go, hey, I'm thinking this, what do you reckon? Is it the right decision? Because I know often, especially when you're on your own in business, and especially when you're trying something new and you've never gone down that road before, it's so much easier when you can share or even just workshop an idea and with someone that's in a similar situation, not necessarily the same business, but has been in a business. Did you have any business mentors or friends that were like important to you during this process that kind of helped you along the way a little bit by giving you some, logical, advice?
Yeah, I definitely had a family friend who was really influential in helping us navigate that supermarket space. He'd been dealing with supermarkets for a long time. So he was definitely really influential in that sense, in terms of just helping me navigate the conversations and what the requirements are and the deals and things like that. So he was really handy. I don't have particularly someone like in a startup environment that I could have leaned on. I definitely have those networks now that I've kind of launched and developed relationships. The other person who was really helpful in building this is my co-founder husband, Raf. He's in a completely different, industry, but he brings a whole different skill set to Rocc that I, don't possess. So he's very much more like the finance, logistics kind of guy. And that's not definitely not my strong suit. So he's been really good to help navigate the business as well.
That's fantastic. It's so important. I had this conversation the other day with the founder of Buff Studios, and she was saying the same thing about her partner. And I think it's so important when you have your partner's support and you can lean on them, and even just having that dialogue that can kind of give you that fresh set of eyes to look over things. And my husband and I share a business together, and sometimes, he might come up with an idea and then I'll give him a different spin on it and be like, oh, I didn't think about that, and vice versa. And I think that kind of bouncing forwards and backwards is so important to the growth of a business as well. And it's obviously the trust factor, is also super, super important. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell us as we conclude, obviously, I've heard only fantastic things about Rocc Naturals. I'm actually very excited about your product. What's coming up next? Are you going to expand into other areas of health, or are we going to stick to toothpaste and oral care, or is there anything you can share with us and kind of give us a little insight of where it's going? I know you're very busy, especially with a 4-month-old, which I'm sure is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she's cute, Molly. So I mean, the next 12 months is pretty much sorted. We know we're launching 3 new SKUs. I can't tell you too much of what they are.
Okay. I'll wait for the press release.
That's right. I was just looking at our range at the moment. Like, there's nothing off the shelf. Everything is customized formula, very innovation led, like our, vitamin B12 formulations. Also kind of really leaning into that like beautiful home aesthetic. So we'll continue to lean into that. Our branding has resonated really well with online feedback we get. Obviously loves the branding, so really kind of leading into that a little bit more. And then we're really just focusing on the Australian market at the moment. So like I said, we're in all Coles stores. So just new products, more retailers, and then I've only got like 15 million ideas. So once I condense them down to a little bit shorter list, I'll let you know.
It sounds like it's going to be very exciting times ahead for Rocc Naturals. I think it's really good. Well, the name allows you to expand into wherever you want to go. Rocc Naturals is kind of a bit universal. Yeah, you can kind of apply it to anything. So I'm excited to see your brand grow and develop even more. So if people want to follow Rocc Naturals, can you give us your Instagram tag and your email deeds, as well as where people can find Rocc? I know you said Coles and Woolworths. And are there any other retailers that people can go and grab your product?
Yeah, so we've got some great partners all around Australia. So a bunch of different lifestyle boutiques. So at the Khalil Hotel in Brisbane, in Melbourne, we're in Sense of Self. In Adelaide, we're in the finest supermarkets, as the Adelaide crew will know. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different suppliers on our website you can find. And obviously roccnaturals.com.au, where we can buy our products online, our subscriptions. And our Instagram is Rocc Naturals, which is pretty easy.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're a busy mum, and I'm so appreciative of your time to sit with me and have a chat, all things toothpaste product and motherhood and businesses and all that. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks again. I'm looking forward to seeing what's new for Rocc Naturals, and stay in touch. Keep us posted here at Casper.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Casper Podcast. For more, head to our website, caspermagazine.com. Stay tuned for more amazing guests, more inspiring journeys. But for now, ciao.